Oh, hi, I'm Dylan, piss drinker God, and that's
Oh,
John, poo drinker Hastings, and we
poo
are
eater as well.
the soy boys who chug shit and drink piss. That's right, new podcast name. Imagine you just you fucking just started listening to this. You'd be hooked off that intro.
I mean, I gotta tell you, how
Yeah.
much longer till we have a piss drinker podcast? Hey, welcome to the Gas Digital Network. I'm Joseph B. McGillicuddy, and we're gonna drink some piss with Ari
Oh
Shafir.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. And then
bro.
I get
Yeah,
bored
yeah.
of and then you get bored of it. I saw someone who just did hot ones. I don't know.
Oh my God,
I
it's
don't.
the
They
best
just did
thing.
hot. That's like exactly hot ones. I'm like, you put a
I've
lot of production value into stealing this idea. Good for you.
I've noticed this very much in the last 6 months. The internet's just been like, you know how quietly we just stole everyone's ideas, and it's like, yeah. It's like now we're just doing that overtly, and you're like, wait,
Oh
what?
yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like, hey, welcome. My name is Johnny Carson, and this is the Tonight Show. Ba 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 da 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 da. And you're like, oh yeah, because everything is basically like everything is a ripoff of basically we're all doing Mark Maron's podcast. This is our version of Mark Maron's podcast,
Yes.
WWF wrestler and now
Yes.
motivational speaker and NFT salesman, I assume,
Oh.
the wild man Mark Marrow. I don't know if he sold NFTs, but I also very much know he's sold NFTs. But let me tell you this, Dylan, who is not a non-fungible token. That's the Try Guys who we're speaking about this week. Wazinga. He's in a car from the 90s that smells like the 80s, that mix of cocaine and cigarettes and car. There's a real specific smell to alcohol that's been drunk in a car. Do you know what I'm talking about? Dylan does. The real smell of a car that has the smell that, oh, someone's killed 7 beers in here like 10 minutes ago.
Honestly, I didn't hang out with the drinkers and the drivers. One of my
You
friends did it
certainly
once, and he
did. You
said, "Oh,
certainly did.
he said one time he drank 5 beers and drove, and he said, "Oh, I can see why people die to this." He was like,
Oh, yeah.
I started listening to Metallica, that I looked down and I was going 140. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't even notice. I was like, this is a good fucking song, man. He's like, and he doesn't do drugs. He just literally like 5 Budweisers, and he was like, let's fucking see who'd win, me or a moose. If it's a tie, I still win.
I have done it one time. I regret it. It was a horrible decision, and for most of it, the trunk was open, and I don't know how that happened. Like,
Yeah. That's how
yo,
you get pull over. Your
Canada,
trunk's open. I'm not
Canada.
drunk.
Yeah,
What?
your
Oh
trunk is
no.
open. Officers, you got me.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good Jeff Foxworthy joke. You
You
pulling
might.
me over? Oh wait, you pulling me over because I was dragging? He's something about like cops would pull you over when you were drunk and you wouldn't get a breathalyzer. They'd just be like, "Yeah, your water skier fell off about 5 minutes back."
I'm gonna say this
uh,
about Jeff Foxworthy. I
yeah.
guarantee that he and I could not have a conversation outside of stand-up comedy because we would just not like each other. But that guy, I like his stand-up. It's a bit fucking hack, but give it to me, baby. You might be a
There is something
redneck.
to be
I
said. It's
love
like
it.
it's hack
I
because
love it.
he's so old. Like he's also like been doing it since the
That's
80s.
the
So it's like,
thing.
is it hack or is he just like he? Can you imagine if you invented something that everyone loves and then people were like, "Yeah, you're kind of a hack." You're like, "No, what I
Yeah,
did got so popular, everyone did an impression of me. They stole from me so much that now even stealing from me is shitty."
yeah. It's the thing is it's like if the people are like, I don't like the Beatles, I've heard it, and it's like you've heard it because of them. They're the reason they did. Like they are the reason that exists. Without them, that doesn't exist. It's like when if people are like Richard Pryor heard it from Chris Rock, and it's the only reason you've heard it from Chris Rock is because of Richard Pryor. Actually, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Oh yeah, the Beatles to me are like music for a church social. Like I like the $1 shirts, but no.
Yeah, we get it. It's one of like the Be. It's like who doesn't not like the Beatles? But it's one of those things where if you're like, I only like the Beatles, then that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? The only food I eat is macaroni and cheese. You need to vary it up. Let me tell you who else might try eating macaroni and cheese for 1 month. That's the Try Guys. They're 4 people from BuzzFeed. They look like if a corporate America cast YouTubers. Like they're literally the most like millennials, like said quickly. Like they've literally got the like, there's one who's from Asia. There's one who's a married guy who turned out to cheat on his wife and sucks. This guy Ned
Mary, he was the
Dylan,
most
you know
married
this guy.
guy.
This guy, let's dwell on Ned for a little bit. You
Dicky,
remember
Dicky,
this guy.
Neddy
So
Way.
when we were doing stand-up comedy in Toronto in the years 2009 to 2012, we would encounter like various people who would like go through the phase of wearing a vest. Like, you know what I'm talking about? You remember these guys?
You know what? I'm very glad you said the word vest, because you know what is not remembered and will be lost to time is the people who wore fucking dressed up vest and a t-shirt in their life.
I'm exactly
Remember
correct. I do remember that, and that's who this guy is. And thank God we're here. He's like the first of those guys. You know what I mean? If the Model T is the original car, Ned Fulmer is the original vest with a t-shirt guy who definitely, like, when meeting your girlfriend would go, nice slit, like that kind of guy. You know what I'm talking about? Like a real followed a lot of porn stars on MySpace energy of a human being.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
me, dude. This is literally three white guys and an Asian guy, though.
Correct. Welcome to it's what did they started out? They were all BuzzFeed journalists, and they did a bunch of videos for when BuzzFeed was.
Which was they started in 2014, so that was fine then. That was like, yeah, we got an Asian guy. We're all good.
Oh my god, this was 2014, like the king of diversity. They're like, enough of this. Like, this is, by the way, being said at the
you're
Today
just
Show
four white
by-
guys. What's he eating? A burrito. Close enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This guy's got a scarf. He's got to be French or fucking something. I don't know. Just fucking.
Yeah, he's got a black cat.
Yeah, what do you? He's wearing a fedora and he's in his 20s. What do you mean?
Yeah, okay. Well, you got three white guys who I guess are boring, and that last guy is a sexual predator. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. We got four guys. One of them, get this, has AIDS, hasn't told any of his partners.
That's cool. That's something
Isn't that
I
fucking
like.
cool?
That's fucking sick.
Welcome to fucking diversity. Welcome to fucking Vice 2.0. We're doing it the way Gavin McGinnis would have done it.
Yeah. If you're still listening and this is your first time, congrats. You like this now. We just showed up to a first date with handcuffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
this is what I'm about.
Yeah. I don't want you to waste your time. I'm going to let you know most of the time when I'm eating, my dick is out, but my clothes are still on. I just like to let my food know where it's headed. You're going to be my piss one day.
Join our Patreon. The $20 tier is we fuck a fucking dead bunny, and if
no, we don't.
If we find a bunch of roadkill,
it's too far.
Sew it together, then we fuck it, and that's also for $0 on Patreon.
Speaking of which, by the way, I was just in Alaska. We're driving back from a town called Kenai, and there was
that triggered a memory, John.
Dude, get ready for this. Get ready for this. A full dead moose is in the fucking middle of the road, and there is a car that clearly hit the moose, and someone else helping those people because they're traumatized. And then there's a car on the other side, and there's like a guy like getting a tarp ready, and the guy driving me is like, "Oh, that's the guy who's on the salvage list." And I went, "What the fuck did you just say to me?" He goes, "If someone hits a moose, you're on a list, and you get to if you can get there, you get to keep all that meat." And then I was like, Alaska is Canada in the 90s. And literally the guy was getting a saw ready to butcher a moose there in the middle of the fucking road, taking on home. And we're eating good this winter, son.
Oh, wow. See, I feel like that is something that is good. This is going to sound silly, but it's like, I feel like that's something that took 100 years off and is going to be like, oh, in 10 years, that's a thing that's going to be like everywhere now.
I mean, give it 5 years in some parts of the world. The other thing I would like to say is if places like BuzzFeed really wanted to explore, like, what's it actually like to do something, they would do something like, these four city fucks from Los Angeles are headed up to Kenai, Alaska, and they're each going to butcher a moose with a chainsaw. We are giving them no instruction. That's the BuzzFeed video I want to see. 4 amateurs butcher roadkill moose with chainsaw. What a fucking video that is. One of them's throwing up in the body, but I don't want to do this. It's not worth it. It's just called X now. No one wants to be on it.
Check this out. Try Guys, to me, are kind of like more disingenuous stuff you should know. If you listen to Stuff You Should Know,
yes,
it's like
exactly.
Where it's like just old men being like, and here's how pens went from quill to ballpoint. And then it's
Can I say something? Can I say something really douchey? But this is what it is the how stuff. Oh my goodness! Second Amendment, freedom of speech, Second Amendment.
Okay, sick. Yeah. Okay, that's a new rule. You can just say that. Okay, go for it.
I get to shoot you with my speech. The The How Stuff Works guys are Seinfeld. The Try guys are Friends.
Ooh.
And the How Stuff Works guys are a so specific type of podcast that is so much of podcasting, which is two people that sound like they're smart, but they could be anyone discussing things in a tone where you assume the information is well researched. And it's the opposite of this podcast, where you assume the information is well researched,
Yeah.
and the quality of it makes you go like, I'm going to bring up this information at parties, and about 70% of the time you're right, and about 30% of the time you're just like, Canada actually has more pollution than China, and then someone's like, that can't be right, and you're like, I heard it on a oh, never mind, yeah, you are right, that podcast was lying.
So in June of 2018, the Try Guys, after 4 years with BuzzFeed, announced that they left, and they have their own brand now. They have 2.3 billion views.
Oh my God, they're
yep.
Sorry, they are so big.
Second Amendment, go for it.
I'm gonna call out Second Amendment. I call Second Amendment rights on this point. They are so big. The video launching them, featuring Ned, who we'll get to, is so douchey. He keeps talking about like, we own this light. Isn't that crazy? Here's the thing with the Try Guys. They're essentially a boy band that doesn't sing. So if a boy band just gave interviews, that's what the Try Guys are. And they're the best version of an internet thing where they have a thing where they're doing something and then they have 1,000 spin-off reaction versions of it. So it's like they've got a video where they're eating toast, and we'll be talking about the toast video on the podcast. You want to head on over to our podcast featuring our wives, where they will discuss the prep for the toast video. You want to check out our Snapchat series with our producers who are reacting to the wife podcast while listening to our podcast. And in the background, that's right, it's the toast video. Like that, they are. It's unbelievable. It is 1,000 snakes eating their own tails, and all around it is just like just someone screaming content. A bald man in his 50s in a polo, the worst man. If you see a thin bald white man in a polo, run the fuck away. Like that's the kind of guy who it's like, oh, he seems like a real nice man, and he has made a decision that cost the lives of billions, and he is literally just seeing what the Try Guys are doing, and he's going, content.
Yeah, the word content is ubiquitous, the right word, but also is terrifying, where it's like, now you've just lumped everyone into this. If you make something, that's all the same fucking thing. But anyway, I want to talk about this. The Try Guys, if you haven't seen them, it's very much easy viewing. It's very much like this was just shit that would have been on HGTV or like any of those extended cable channels, and you would have seen 1,000 of when you were hungover. Completely inoffensive, good stuff. They are likable and really, really like glossy. And like, you think everything on the internet is kind of shitty. When you think of the internet, you think of like, when did the Try Guys go right wing? But
yeah.
No, these guys are just like, this is literally like they made an internet thing that could be played at 2 p.m. on a Sunday in perpetuity for the rest of. I wonder if they're making more money this way, or if they would make more money on like old school television, where they'd have this job. You know what? Actually, old school television.
Way. No, it's this way.
Yeah, because they would just like kill one of them and replace it and never talk
exactly.
About it.
And they wouldn't necessarily own it.
Zach had to leave. He became.
Brian. Yeah. Zach's in France. He's an exchange student. This show isn't set into school. He went back to school and now he's an exchange student. Shut the fuck up.
Don't worry. We harvested Zach's calves and gave them to Rick, the new Try Guy.
Yeah. Here's the other thing that's really interesting is it's very much aping what a weird adolescent might think adult is. Like it's all this sort of stuff that it's like, it's content that for people that aren't millennials that think millennials might do this, you know what I mean? Like everything's kind of shot in that gloss, like it's all an OK Go music video, for lack of a better description.
There you go. Very specific description.
Yeah, but nailed it. They're also like the way they always look, it's always in this very sort of like specific, colorful, but not too bright. Like it's all just very thought out, methodical. It's essentially kids television for adults. Like, hey, did you just wake up from one of your John Himmerman inspired weird mouth tape naps? Well, let's just relax by watching me eat this lasagna in a reasonable amount of time while wearing an ascot.
I mean, it is cool that they've done friggin' 9 years of this, and they're still finding stuff to try.
I mean, they're starting to try my patience.
That's good.
Thank you. The show also spun off onto traditional television. They went into a Food Network TV show. They were growing in prominence. They're also it's the world is so fragmented and crazy that they have 1 billion followers, and I had no idea who they were until Labor Day of September, Labor Day of 2022, last September. Dylan, what do you think happened then?
Ooh, I think that here's what I would say to anyone out there: never test the internet, because
Never.
this only happened because of like so much. Watergate happened because of a reporter and an informant, and you can track it. This happened. The only reason Ned Fulmer got caught cheating on his wife is because of the hive mind that was some weird Reddit thread on the Try Guys. And like, to really understand, this is the interesting thing about covering the internet, is that like, to really understand the like meta of that, you would really have to be in it. Like, you would literally have to be on this like Try Guys Reddit thread the whole time to understand like the ebbs and flows of how it's worked. And even then, it's just subject to your interpretation of it, because the internet shows people what they want to see, essentially.
Yeah, it's very much, it's hilarious to borrow the term Palantir, because that was the company behind Cambridge Analytica. But the internet very much is something that gives you all this information, but you're also not aware what it's also putting in within you, et cetera, et cetera. But what's also amazing about the internet is I always think it proves that all conspiracies are kind of bullshit, because all the information gets out there, because as you say, that hive mind is ever thirsty. Like, we know, like, we had the information of what was happening in terms of mining people's Facebook in 2011. It's just anonymous didn't know how to read the information they were looking at, because it was so crazy that someone could actually do it. But then 2016 happened, and you could trace back all that information, going to your point that there is no hiding from the internet. And what we're talking about is, if you trace back, and I did a little bit of this in the research, the Try Guys Reddit slowly was believing that Ned Fulmer was having an affair. Now, the Cosmopolitan and Newsweek and all the other, like, sort of, for lack of a better term, non-internet based news sources will say that, like, they discovered it over Labor Day weekend. People were talking about this for months. There's screen grabs of them in restaurants, like, all over the fucking place. Like, why are Alex and Ned? It's really weird, and sort of also is a glimpse into the parasocial relationship the Try Guys have clearly kind of fostered with their audience, which I think also points to why their reaction was so extreme. Now, what basically happens is, for months and months, and they're like, why are these two always together away from everyone else? And the reason why they were sort of saying that is because Ned was literally known as the wife guy. His wife had a podcast about what it's like to be a partner of a Try Guy. He, like, if they were a superhero, his superpower was monogamy, supposedly. Like, he was, like, very much supposedly committed to his wife. They have this squeaky clean image, and it all culminates with the Reddit more and more being like, why are this person always, like, why is he always with this person who later turned out to be a producer? And then they're in New York in some nightclub over Labor Day weekend, hard snogging, as they say in the UK. And that blows up the internet. And then, as that's also happening, Reddit has pointed out that, like, from that moment, and the Try Guys don't mention it, like, Ned is suddenly gone from all the podcasts. He's edited out a bunch of videos. There's, like, Instagram posts showing him on the shoots for videos that are posted. They don't see him, et cetera, et cetera. Dylan, reaction to this scandal.
This is insane, because it's like the way this is put together is through through bits of pieces of podcasts. So it's like, there's one part of a podcast where she talks about how she and Ned have, like, location on their phone linked up with each other, so they know where each other is at the same time. And the Try Guys are making a video, and at one part in the video, he shows up with the girl he was cheating on his wife with. It goes, oh, it's, Andrea and Ned, and they're together. So, and they're like, oh, fun. And Try Guys show up or whatever. And then microanalyzing stuff that, him and Andrea have said on podcasts together. And
I'm just going to pause you right there, you fucking pig. The people's names are Ariel and Alex. Do you understand how many podcasts with high gloss HD filters I've had to watch to learn about these fucking people?
Well, here's what I'm saying
So much
though: is
can
that
we stop sitting in front of wood paneling for podcasts? By the way, go fuck
white
the amount of
walls?
white walls. My slogan for this design was white wall power, but it really got out of hand quickly.
It is so funny that like the background of every podcast is just a room in a virgin's house now. It's just like
Exactly.
covered in knickknacks.
Exactly. I like that the podcast, it's like it's the freedom. It can go anywhere. And then within the space of less than 15 years, we were like, yep, well, now if you want to have a podcast, you better have a production budget of $500,000 because you're going to need a jib and a crane. Like, go
There's
fuck
one
yourself.
episode, there's an old episode of the Bill Burr podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast, that he's in an airport. He's talking
one
to
episode
himself.
those are the best that was the best years of that podcast where there is one where he is just making fun of people at a Cinnabon. I think that's Bill Burr at his best. Was that podcast used to just be him rage ranting on the telephone.
Okay, so check this out, you fucking bitch. So where I was going with that was they show up to this video. There was a report of two people fucking in a car that was filed. This Reddit thread finds out about it and basically puts it together that this dude, Ned, wanted to cheat on his wife so bad, or that him and this girl were fucking in a car and then just went into the video.
Oh, I know. And there's a bunch of these, by the way. There's also ones of like timestamp of her Instagram photo with the background. Like they're literally being like, okay, this could be the same hotel, like bathroom background. Like it's so intense how deep dive they go.
Why does it start though? Like why does it start? Because there's got to be like a reason that it starts.
So
for lack of a better word, like it's like
I think it's one of those things where I think it starts because there's a lot of photos. I think it's impossible to sort of tell where it comes because I didn't do a full scrub of their Reddit. But from what I can tell is people just started posting basically to these people's fans. They are Brad Pitt level celebrities. So when they're out and about, they are photographed as such. But because the internet isn't covered the way by traditional paparazzi, it's just people on their phones, then posting it on Reddit. And I think they noticed they were together more and more and more. Plus, then there was the video of them. Like, it's sort of this weird thing of like people go like in Reddit figured it out. And it's like, yeah, some people on that Reddit forum were being like, yeah, what's going on here? And other people were like, well, we have this video of them making out in New York. And that is what drew the Try Guys' attention to the affair, was that video of them making out in New York. And then they didn't mention it and were scrubbing him from a bunch of stuff. And we now know that's because they were consulting a fuckload of lawyers.
Yeah, they scrubbed him from a bunch of shit because this is like any one of them other ones could have an affair, especially with their glossy image. But he's literally like, there's compilations on YouTube of him just saying the word wife for like hours. And exactly. And like and there's no like this is by YouTube analytics, but apparently most of their viewers are like late teens, early 20s women. So it's like there's no it's not like some guys who'd be like, yeah, pussy's pussy, dog. Woo!
Yeah, it's not like it's not if Tim Dillon, it turned out Tim Dillon Tim Dillon is not straight, so that would be a real shock. It turned out Tim Dillon was straight, had a wife, and was cheating on his wife. Everyone would be like, all right. But like, yeah, one of the Try Guys are like, go, what? Like their audience is going to give a fuck. The other thing is, they did a thorough and intense investigation, and the way they shut him out, I don't know what they discovered. I think based off of some stuff that has come out about ex-employees who've never said anything like Matt Lauer, Harvey Weinstein-ish, but have more been like, that guy was a piece of shit. Like that guy was just a dick. He was so annoying to work with. And what I think it was the Try Guys were like, we've had enough of this guy. And he has given us a great opportunity to be like, you are cut out of the business. Goodbye.
Well, it's not the affair. It's the fact that he was bang-a-lang one of his employees. Yeah.
He was bang-a-lang one of his employees. That was the issue. But I also think that I completely agree, and they would have fired him anyway. I think they were looking for a reason to get rid of this guy.
Ooh.
That's my cup of tea. Because the other thing that's been amazing about this is they have gotten so much play out of this. The last year, their channel has risen so much. 30 days after they make a initial video, which is the three of them called like What's Happened, where they sit on a couch and literally look like they're reading off of cue cards prepared by a variety of vicious lawyers. About 30 days after that, they then do a 90-minute podcast, which I listened to a bunch of with what the fuck? Zach and Keith are the two of them that do the podcast, and they go through the whole thing. And it was basically they had to do a thorough and intense investigation, discovered this, and fired him. But I also think they were like, oh, fucking hell yeah, goodbye. Like, I think as much as they talk about, oh my God, this is losing a friend, I think that this was like, I think this was also like, oh, good, we get to kill a guilty man.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to shave this, and also it's like, okay, well, we're not going to sacrifice a quarter of the views, so now we just get to all make more money.
Not only that, they like substantially grew in this moment.
Well, this is all controversies, right? Like the Logan Paul shit. Well, Logan Paul's an interesting one because like Logan Paul, now baldos like us know who he is, but like he was actually making way more money when he was just like, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah, I think
we talked about his, not even close, like his most popular video by like hundreds of millions of views is him and Jake Paul diss from when they were like legit children.
I mean, they weren't legit children, they were legit. I think he was like 19, 20. That's an adult. I can fight him. That's how I gauge.
It's so funny that 19 and 20-year-olds are like, they have,
oh my God.
When you're 19 and 20, you feel like so insecure about the whole world, but then it's like, oh no, you're physically at your peak and it's not even close.
Yeah, I still think it's crazy that people rented me an apartment when I was 20. That's insane. People are like, I better hand over my property to this person that...
Dude, like, I used to think, like, because I don't even want to worry about getting the security deposit back. I'm just going to fuck this place up. And then it was like, when I first moved out of a place, when I was there with my now wife, I was like, oh, I guess we don't just fuck this place up now. Do you know what I mean? Like, or I was like, okay, honey, we're moving out anyway. What do you want me to throw through that wall? It's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a bunch of wet stuff we can leave somewhere dry?
Hey, I'm gonna go cut the cable to this place as like a farewell gift. Not something showy, but something that's actually way worse.
Yeah, I want to make sure that he remembers me and not in a positive way.
Okay, so now what happened to Ned afterwards? Do you want me to tell them?
Yes, you guess.
He's Liver King.
That's right. Ned is Liver King. I fucking wish it would. It's even better. He is back working at BuzzFeed, and the internet is literally like there are people camped out, like virtually camped out, doing Ned updates. He's back working with BuzzFeed. He is very much still with his wife. This is they may or may not have had a third child. The internet went from literally calling the woman he had an affair with, this woman Alex, who was a producer from the Try Guys, like basically be like, get a scarlet letter and put it on her clit. Fucking get this cunt. To like, oh wait, actually no, yeah, this guy's probably a bad guy. Like just based on like every ex-employee is like, Try Guys was a very nice place to work. I worked there with Ned. That guy can fucking die in fucking hell. I fucking hate him. And then everyone's like, yeah, all right, fuck this guy.
Yeah, he's Second Try LLC is what he's doing right now. And
no, Second Try, fuck you. Second Try LLC is the Try Guys. They also, I fucking hate podcasts. People used to talk about how podcasts were boring when stand-ups used to talk about stand-up. Do you know how many podcasts are just podcasters explaining the structure of their S corps? Like they literally were just like the amount of times I've heard the phrase LLC in the last 24 hours researching this episode makes me want to castrate a banker. Go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead. Dylan, go ahead.
So it says he's a development partner at BuzzFeed Motion Pictures.
Oh my God. What the fuck is that?
This is from Freshers Live. No, this was the thing. No one really knows now, I thought, because the first contact they had was these two, him and his wife, in the background of a photo where they went to a Taylor Swift show about a month ago. And that
Dylan,
September 26th.
You've really not done enough deep. Yes, no. So they were at a Taylor Swift concert. The Reddit thing thinks that was an intentional slow roll of Ned's return. So what they think is he's back with BuzzFeed, and they're playing the long con to relaunch him, and it's going to be Try Guys versus Guy Tries. You see what I'm saying? That's what
I don't. I think it'd be very, very
and by
difficult. Like
the
they have to
internet,
go together and be like, here's how you get past cheating. If they're going to keep doing it, because they did have a podcast about what it's like to have two kids. And
I just want to say this. By the internet, I mean this is my theory, and B, I would fucking listen to the podcast of this guy fucking cheated on me, and now we're gonna do a podcast about it. If they did a like intensely honest, okay, here's what happened. Okay, first time I cheated on you, it was like, and they do that, that would be the most insane listen at high. Like, and it,
yeah, I'd want to
like,
hear a mom cry. That's for sure.
oh,
That shit might bug you if you don't have kids, but that shit is the fucking gasoline in my engine, baby. I want to hear some moms cry. I fucking watch that shit on YouTube all day now.
I want no, but I've been
wanting just like they're overwhelmed, so they start.
I also want it, but I want it to culminate in she gets to fuck celebrity of choice on the podcast he has to watch, and we get the full experience of what is an actual cuckold video like. He has to describe the smells, each emotion, what his body is doing. My neck's tingling. Why do I keep making eye contact with him? Why do I find that comforting?
It became sick though. Like a lot of people
likes that.
It became because I think she on a podcast was saying like, oh, we've kind of like gone into like traditional wife husband roles. I take care of the kids and he cheats on me in a car.
Yeah, we have traditional wife mother roles. I have a couple of nannies and I take care of the kids and I do a lot of yoga, and in no way is that me trying to repress the rage of the fact that all of the vehicles my husband drives smell like a fish bucket. Hey, Ned, did someone spill some bleach on some shrimp inside the van? No. Don't ask why there's an air mattress in there either, or condoms that are used.
It is crazy that like
also,
oh yeah, that's how one of my wife's friends caught a guy cheating on her. He was found a used condom and he's like, oh, I'd masturbate with condoms.
Oh my God, what a loser. What a terrible
like, oh no, actually that's you did that.
My favorite, I was recently with some comedians and two of them were discussing how they both recently got caught cheating on their girlfriends. One of them was like, oh, she went through my phone after a lot of suspicion. The other one was like, we were in a big fight and I just thought, you know what? I'm going for it. And it just went, yeah, well, I cheat on you. And he went, I thought that was going to get me to win the fight. And you know, when you're like, wow, you're dumber than I thought you were. I know I'll win this fight. I'll let her know that I'm a duplicitous bad person.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, John, we're going to take a quick break. And I'm going to fucking slurp on my own dick.
Guys, we're going to come back. We are going to let you know what the Try Guys are up to now. And then we will wildly speculate for the rest of the 25 minutes left in that podcast. If anyone ever doubts my commitment to this program, I was mid shit when I got the link, and Dylan has to go pick up his wife. So I cut that shit. I cut it off. There's still shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I'm the new Ned.
I'm holding it in for Dylan so he can go literally pick up his wife. He can do the opposite of Ned. He can go and have sex with his wife. I would love to see. Have you and your wife recently fucked in your car?
Never in my life.
Never gonna do it. You seem like a bed man. Not even, and bottom up.
Yeah.
Tops for sleeping.
Middle.
You do it in the middle of the bed, lengthwise.
To be in the middle.
Very
big
good.
People have to do big things. You can't have fucking tiny little car sex. I saw the lady. Also, it's like, you know, that is shit when it's like you get caught cheating and then it's like Ned is gonna get some people to call him a piece of shit, but everyone's coming down on that lady.
Oh, and everyone did. Oh my God. The internet was just like literally like, I don't know who this woman is, but I have like the amount of Seymour Reddit posts that this woman like inspired. And now the amount of, because you have to remember the Try Guys are so big in YouTube that every big YouTuber has done like 19 reaction videos.
Yeah.
There's literally guys that are doing reaction videos to the coverage, which is very interesting in that most of the coverage basically was like, oh, here are the Try Guys, here are who they are. Here's what happened with this Neil. And basically what we did, which is basically like, yeah, we understand based off of their image and everything else, this absolutely makes sense what they did and why they did it. Because like their brand is such where it's like, we got to be away from this guy. I also think they discovered like something else in that investigation, like that they were like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, for someone as crispy clean as these guys, like fucking your own employee is enough. Like on your fucking the lady who was a career woman who now takes care of both your kids, and then you fuck one of your employees in the car. Like, that's enough.
What kind of car do you think it is? And the kind of car does affect it. Do you think he was getting?
They obviously knew what it's his Tesla.
Oh, I was hoping it was a Tesla. The
Of course,
Tesla.
this is a fucking LA guy.
Oh, the
He's
Tesla.
banging on some lady in a Tesla.
Am I the only one that's enjoying the slow collapse of Tesla?
It was like 5. This is like the only thing like I could watch before this, but it was like 5:30. So people on the Reddit were like, "Well, maybe it's his wife. I mean, maybe they got off work and they had sex in the car." It's like, okay, I guess no one's married there. If that's his wife, that's because a therapist told them to.
And they wouldn't be doing it in the Tesla. We're renting a car. We're not doing it in our car. We're not doing it. We're not doing it where
fucking kids sleep.
Are you fucked? Pervert? You want me to get fucking pwned while looking at bits of a granola bar? You history's greatest monster.
100%. There's no way. Like, at least no one, like, there's no way a woman is getting fucked in a Tesla, in her own Tesla or her family Tesla, and not just starting to clean halfway through.
No one with a mortgage, and 2 kids is getting pwned with. Yeah, exactly right. Without scooping some Cheerios up. Thank you for that orgasm. Throw these out.
Unless she's done the cheating, then shows like,
even still, that's not true. No.
This happens one time once, and then after this, we're even now.
You're absolutely incorrect, and I'm going to use your own phrase, which is no. I always find that like women, when they are cheating, they Bill Clinton at home. It's like a staff, someone around the house, someone bed adjacent to just get it done. Pool boys, handymen. You know what I'm saying?
That's what he did.
Male au pairs. No, he did it at work. No bed. He did the real Bill Clinton. I'm talking.
Too busy.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's hot stuff, though. You know. I'll say that for old Ned.
I disagree.
Say that for old Ned. He's got some hot stuff going on.
As soon as I saw the amount of different colors of peach Ned was dressed in, I was just like, this guy is someone that literally hits on girls by going like, I like to joke. Like, he just stinks. This guy fucking blows.
So there was one of my old bosses said, which is very funny, when the whole. So for those of you that don't know, Gian Gomeshi was a radio host.
Yes, please. Dylan's favorite radio host, even to this day.
Yeah. So he was a radio host, which is very important, is that the government does all the arts grants in Canada. So this is like technically a government employee who would do, I guess, not unlike he would always interview artists. So it was his version of the Mark Maron podcast.
He was he was the equivalent of a BBC Radio 4 culture show host or a NPR host for our United States.
Yes, public television, highbrow stuff. And then one of her friends slept with him, and then she said, he just like started like choking me. And he's like, and then my boss was like, smoked a cigarette. He's like, yeah, you got gomed. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, you got Gomeshi. You sleep with him, he just starts choking you. What you got to do is, he's small, you overpower him. That's what she said. You just, when he goes for your throat, you just go no, and then he keeps on trying to go, and then eventually you just go on top. You defeat him. Okay, that's fucked up, but it's like women around Toronto had like a thing where it's like, yeah, you get go. But that's what seemed like Ned Fulmer is like, he was like having sex with me in his car, and then he just put on a pig mask. Yeah, Fulmer. I don't know what you're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I knew that we were dating because he showed up at my house totally naked with a bloody knife, wearing a wet gorilla mask, and he just said, I'm gonna hunt you now. And for some reason I was like, I guess you are.
I'm on the hunt for cunt. That was what that Fulmer said.
Yeah, I'm a cunt hunter. I'm a cunter hunter.
There you go. You know that show MILF Hunter? What? Yeah.
First of all, I wouldn't call it a show.
That's why he calls everything a show, I think.
Oh my god. You know that show Bang Bus?
You know that show on TikTok where all those young girls are dancing? What are you talking about? I guess it's called My Algorithm. Anyway, yeah, I love that show.
You know that show, My Dreams? My show where I'm just given, there's no rules and I'm at a shopping mall. Wait, what? I just want to use a public toilet with no fear.
Ooh, that feels good. Are you ready to learn fear? What'd you say, Ned? Nothing. I'm just the teacher and you're going to learn.
Yeah, you're just I'm just the teacher and the school is locked and I'm going to kill you. I'm a killer teacher.
You know, Teslas sometimes lock on the inside. Can't get them undone. Anyway, no reason I said that. Hee hee hoo hoo.
Yeah, you know, if you just really pull at the iPad that's part of the console, it will actually deactivate and the doors will not unlock. Why do you know that? Oh, I never mind.
Now I'm gonna sit in my kid's seat. I'm the baby.
What is so crazy about this is the amount of internet reactions to it. Also, what happens when this all culminates is SNL. Can I just say SNL is one of the most fascinating programs in
Who's
that
tracking what SNL does? Sorry, go for it.
YouTube. I didn't realize this either. YouTube is like YouTubers have
I
sort
guess
of
you
a
just got to react to something.
they do, and also they have a real bugaboo about how they're presented. I didn't realize this. They really hate being called pranksters, and they pointed this out. It's such a good point. Is anytime anyone who's like a famous YouTuber, anytime they're on the news, they're always like famous prankster PewDiePie pulled his favorite prank of being like mentioned by a lot of shooters. You know what I'm saying? And they should do that with Ned, where they're like, he is not a prankster. And then the other thing is they show an SNL sketch, and this is so like cookie cutter SNL where they're doing a news program and they basically dunk on the Try Guys apology video for how like sappy and saccharine and legal it sounded. But they never, what's very interesting is they never bring up Neil and or Ned, whatever the fuck his name is, Ned, and the shit he did. And that is because then Reddit did some digging because you can't hide anything from the internet and discovered that Ned had constantly talked about a friend of his who was a writer. And what show did that man write on? Saturday Night Live. So Reddit speculated that they did a spite sketch on SNL to get back at the Try Guys for firing Ned for doling out cream pies in the
There
Tesla
you go.
bakery.
Opening up the bakery. Here's the thing, though. If all right, let's say they didn't fire Ned. It's the try. It's Ned featuring the Try Guys now. He's the biggest star on the show because the only
oh my God, that's a
all
great
of these
point.
things are very fringe until there is some sort of scandal. Like a scandal, really, if you handle it well, a scandal makes you. We just talked about the Paris Hilton sex tape. I'm sure we'll talk about the Kim Kardashian sex tape, which is much better.
I will preview for the Kim Kardashian sex tape. Here's how I heard about it. I was working at a radio station, Q92 in Montreal. One of the hosts turned to me and he went, "You like big asses?" And I went, "What?" And he went, "You know that Kim," she was already very famous. And he went, "You know that Kim Kardashian that's nothing but a big ass and nothing else?" And I went, yeah. And he went, "You ever seen her sex tape?" And I went, "No." And he went, "Tonight I want you to watch the sex tape. I want you to let me know what it's like tomorrow." And I came back the next day and he went, "What did you think?" And I went, "It's not very good." And he went, "Big ass though."
I'm so glad I've seen Brandy's brother's dick. That's my only review.
I mean, that was the main. I was like, wait a minute, the Ray J. I got to see how this guy fucks.
Hold on. Which member of the Spice Girls cousin is this?
Wait a minute.
That's the star for me.
Wait a minute. The show Moesha that was on Global in Canada on Saturday afternoons after Xena Warrior Princess. That person's blood relative fucking someone tangentially involved in the O.J. Simpson case? Keep me away.
Yeah, I want it to be someone who's, yeah. This is Johnny Cochran's daughter? Oh, it's not? That makes it less hot, but I'll take OJ, one of OJ's lawyer's daughters.
Excuse me. Is Lance Ito's any blood relative of Lance Ito? Are they possible to have sex? I'll watch Jay Leno have sex because of the Lance Ito dancers.
Okay. Now, talk about the SNL sketch. Was that it?
Yeah, the SNL sketch was really bad and was literally just a spite sketch sent from Neil through his friend back to the Try Guys. Is the internet's everyone's theory. What I actually think it is what SNL kind of always does is the internet has kind of defeated SNL and that it doesn't know how to like go up against it, because as much as SNL has young writers, it's still being run by a 74-year-old man. Like, it's like, this is the thing when people are like mainstream media. It's not mainstream media. It's people in the late 60s and early 70s who have not thought they've been wrong since the 80s. So no, they're not going to culturally adapt to this either. Like SNL, it's very funny. SNL has kind of become the Ed Sullivan show in that it is very much not the like edgy, crazy, transgressive comedy. It's kind of like, you know, what the older generation is being fed about the younger generation, so they can be like, that's fun. Because they're like, you know, 20-year-olds. You watch SNL when you're 14 and when you're 35. You don't watch it in your 20s because you're out drinking and trying to do this to people's holes. Trying to do
Yeah,
this.
trying to fulmer some ladies.
Whoa.
Employ
No.
and then have sex with them.
Nope. I don't do that.
Employs first.
No, I don't do either. I only do the first one. I only give women jobs. I don't make them then give me hand or blow. Whoa! I also want to say this. I'm still upset that the shock jock trend of the 90s isn't still around. Because imagine what that would be like given the social adultery standards of today would be amazing. Of just the amount of different like Fishman and the Piss have to like justify their weird behavior. Fishman's gotten jerked off by an IHOP waitress. Like, and also his wife was there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Kansas City.
What this really talks about, get back to your SNL point, is that the old iNet, really you have to make a pivot, which nature's only super genius Logan Paul definitely has, where you're no longer creating content. Now all of your stuff is about drama because you can constantly create new drama, even if it's shittier than the last drama. You can just hook people in like that because a show like SNL, where you're just only making sketches, at a certain point you will start being shitty at it, especially if you have to do like an hour and a half per week. Like,
yeah.
So the way that old media worked, where it's like, okay, you keep on doing well until someone gives you a job, that kind of just like tenure, for lack of a better word, is kind of like, if not on the way out, on like, if not all on the way out, like completely, because it's like, okay, this guy legit had like 7 great TikToks in a row. He's got more money than you now because it's literally all about what people like now. Like, you all constantly have to be doing good things versus, Logan Paul. And I think it is to the Try Guys' credit that they just like didn't make their entire channel like 95 fucking videos about how they're dealing with the fact that a guy they knew fucked somebody.
I mean, you say that they've made a fair amount of they've done very well off of this in terms of how they've milked it, how they've slowly like released information about it. Like, I'm not playing a fucking like they're like, it was really hard for us. I'm like, it sure was. It also grew your business pretty substantially. Like,
I think how many 55-year-olds wearing a V-neck have told him like, one of you guys better fucking cheat on your goddamn partner?
I guarantee they're not. He's not the only one that's cheated on their partner. Those guys are.
Of course not.
2 of them. I'm gonna say Keith. What the fuck are they? They have terrible names.
Anytime you're like a normal person just doing the internet, and then suddenly you don't even see it, but you become famous. That's just something I think about all the time. Is that if you hit it big on the old interweb, then fucking you don't even see yourself becoming success. You just walk outside one day and people all of a sudden recognize you. Or
I agree with you.
It's just on your phone. It's not in real life.
No, like, it's just on your phone. Yeah. The other thing I will say is between Zach and or Keith, they both are guys that I don't know if this is true, but they both strike me as they were 50 pounds heavier when the Try Guys started. They lost their weight, and a long-term girlfriend was ditched. Like, both of these guys really strike me as this is Zoe and she's really unique. No, we're not dating. Yeah, you are. You are. Shut up. And we will now shut up. Ladies and gentlemen, join our Patreon or don't. We're going to keep doing these, or maybe we won't. Go fuck yourselves. Send us money. Send us food.
Yeah, send us food.
Drop off food. If you can find where we live, drop off food.
They Dylan, definitely do all look the same. The one thing I'll say about Zach is what you're saying is it definitely looks like he's had some hair plugs.
Oh, good point. I would also say, not to be this catty, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them have had the old, what they now call in LA, rejuvenation.
I mean, 100%. They all have.
Yeah.
Blew my mind when I was working in a rich coffee shop in a rich neighborhood, and part of the like spa day was just Botox. It was like,
of course,
you get a massage, but this was like 2011.
The amount of Botox that people are like, that people are now putting Botox in their armpits. You just don't sweat.
That's terrifying. I don't want that.
That's the most insane thing. I was literally like, what are you talking about? I was talking about someone and they're like, yeah, you've been in the gym and like someone's like fucking lifting really hard and not sweating. That's because they've put Botox in their bodies, in their sweat glands so they don't sweat. And I'm like, who the fuck is like, enough of this sweating? And they're like, it's LA, it's hot. You look fucking cool as shit. And I was like, that's the so gross.
I like to get sucked off. I like to piss on toes. Good night, everybody.